Senator, yesterday there was a vote in the Senate that had to do with keeping student loan interest rates where they are now. I think it's around 3%. And how did you vote, and where do we stand with regards to that interest rate? Because that's dollars for kids who are barely making ends meet as it is.
There's not a lot of bipartisan support for many things in the United States Senate right now. There is clearly bipartisan support to ensuring that we do not increase the interest rates on student loans. I think we recognize that the burden that young people face when they get out of school right now, in terms of the financial consequences, the burden is already high. They're going into a job market that is very, very difficult. The unemployment rate for young people right now is at an all-time high. And so to practically double the interest rates on student loans at this point is just, it's absolutely wrong. And I think there is bipartisan agreement that we not increase the student loan interest rate. Where there is disagreement is how that is paid for. Because when you're dealing with a $15 trillion debt, we've got to figure out how we pay for these. The bill that was proposed yesterday, and the vote was whether or not we should proceed to even take it up. But the bill that was proposed would have paid for this measure by increasing the taxes on certain small businesses that utilize the S corporation formation. I voted against that because I do not think that it makes sense to actually penalize our small businesses, exactly those businesses that we would hope would hire young people who are getting out of school. Let's not increase their taxes and put them in a situation where they cannot expand their business, where they cannot hire on new employees. So I'm looking for a way that we can continue to keep the student loan interest rate low, but doing so in a manner that doesn't necessarily impact our small businesses. I have been supporting a proposal that's out there that would allow us to tap into a discretionary fund that was made available under the health care reform bill that was passed 2 years ago. This is a fund that is available at the discretion of the Secretary of Health and Social Services for a myriad of different uses. The President and the Democratic-led Senate has already looked to tapping that fund for other measures. Now all of a sudden it's become the sacred cow and we can't go there. It is difficult to try to figure out how we thread the needle on paying for legislative initiatives. I think it is imperative that we come together in a bipartisan way, make sure that we keep our student loan rates low so that we don't penalize our young people, but let's make sure that we're also not causing another problem by penalizing our small businesses. Let's figure out how we make this happen. Let's keep this from going into play and do so in a quick manner that causes the least amount of stress on young people and their families. So our work is not done yet. We had one motion to proceed. It's my understanding that we will have another opportunity in the very short time period coming up to resolve this in a way that's going to work for students, it's going to work for families, and it's going to work for those businesses that will look to employ our young people.
So it's not a question of what at this point. It's a question of how you deliver this to the students, and you're optimistic that we're never going to have to stare at that July 1st date where everything changes.
I don't believe that you will see the student loan interest rates increase. The deadline that's coming up is a July 1 deadline. I firmly believe, that we will reach a bipartisan solution that allows the rate to remain as is and allows that in a manner that is paid for, that has bipartisan support, and that doesn't hurt our small businesses and our employers. This is an area where we do have consensus, but we've just got to figure out how we make it all come together. So I remain optimistic. I think it's important for students, particularly as they're graduating this May, to know that there is a great deal of good faith effort to resolve this and resolve it promptly and fairly.